In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Badger Nerdworks Presents Player Select. I'm Brandon, and this week we'll be talking about that dreaded beast of a game, Dark Souls. Odds are that if you know one thing about this game, it's how hard it is. And this is true, very true. Still, at its heart, Dark Souls is fun. Not like smiling, laughing fun, but more of a nervous stress kind of fun. Dark Souls was originally released on September 22nd, 2011 for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, made by the world's worst named company of all time, From Software. Nice name, guys. Technically, Dark Souls is an action RPG, but that will greatly disappoint if you're a fan of action or RPGs. Dark Souls is a clunky third-person knight simulator. There's magic, but it's cheese. The real meat and potatoes of this game is this slow-moving, deep melee combat. There's a story, but it's a story of keeping a gullible schmuck in the dark till he's strong enough to make a worthy sacrifice. Sadly, that fool is you. So, yes, this game has a bunch of people in it, but half of them are tricking you, and the other half are totally self-absorbed. There's not so much to the role-playing beyond activating the talk till the person starts repeating themselves. Most of the story actually lays hidden in the flavor text of the items. Still, the game does a number of things that are pretty cool in the deep cut and offers some compelling ideas. In the vein of full disclosure, I have beaten Dark Souls, but my younger brother taught me the game and served as my guide for the first playthrough. He was the one who originally introduced me to Dark Souls, and then much later pressured me into liking it. I was originally resistant. Normally I like my games to be fun and relaxing. This wasn't, and I didn't like it. At first the character feels immensely heavy and clumsy when attacking. The style of the game is drab, browns and blacks. Everything and everyone are ancient ruins. The bad guys cheat. And this game literally wants to make you quit. Part of the story is your willingness to continue. If your character quits, you hollow out. You see, in the Dark Souls world, when a person dies, they can return as an undead. The undead retain their humanity at first, but over time they hollow out. When an undead hollows out, they become a violent shadow of their former selves. So for the sake of the living, the undead are all banished to the north. Now, held out happens for two reasons. First, the undead fulfills its purpose. Second, the undead fails to achieve its purpose and quits. So you're screwed either way. This is one of those cool, even though it screws you things. You see, when you help someone in Dark Souls, you bring them one step closer to hollowing out. So by helping too much, you can in fact doom them. The trick is to help them a little, then screw them over when it matters. Either way, at some point in some playthrough, you're going to want to kill everyone you know and steal their unique equipment. Brutal, right? But let's not forget, this is an RPG, and you equip stuff to get stronger in RPGs. But not so in Dark Souls. You get stronger to use your equipment. Even if you lay hands on a sweet piece of equipment early in the game, there's no way you could use it. For example, the first real enemy in the game is unbeatable. Unless you choose the Blackfire bombs as your bonus item in the underwhelming character creation. If you do, then you can kill the Asylum Demon in the first encounter and he'll drop his awesome club. But you'll be halfway through the game before you have any chance of wielding it. That could easily be like 30 plus hours later. That's a long time, especially when your super cool new weapon can be easily and totally neutralized or even made a liability by a hall, a doorway, a pillar, a wall, so on and so forth. You see, every weapon in the game is different. Big weapons need space for swinging. Spears rule the halls. I used a halberd for the first half of the game because it lets you attack while blocking. I liked its stabbing motion for the hall fights and on ledges. Its heavy attack was a so-so 360 swing, which is whatever. I went with the Dragon King Great Axe for my endgame weapon, though. It had an overhead swing, good for corridors and fighting on ledges. It also has an amazing area of effect attack. Axe high above your head, sucks in some kind of magic, then you slam it on the ground, causing a massive shockwave. The only catch is the axe takes massive damage every time you do it, and it breaks pretty quickly, like maybe 5 times. So it's only awesome in certain situations, but that's part of what makes Dark Souls fun. The combat is less about numbers or levels, but situational awareness and controlling the fight. Really, this is where the programmers really shine. Most of Dark Souls encounters offer some kind of difficulty other than just the damage done by the bad guys. Maybe the guy over there is drawing you in so his friend can hit you with bombs, or the first time you go up a set of stairs and a giant boulder comes crashing down. It is often as simple as making you fight on a precarious cliff or on a narrow bridge with swinging blades, or walking on barely there rafters while assassins throw knives at you. So being able to choose your footing or draw a fight to where you have the advantage is key to success. On that note, I'd like to share with you a piece of advice I got from my little brother that really helped me. There's no cheating in Dark Souls. If you find a way to cheese an enemy, that is totally cool. Don't think there are any nobility awards being handed out here. If you find a weakness, exploit it. My favorite exploit is at the end of Sen's Fortress. When you fight the Iron Golem, he's massive. If you go to a bonfire, the game's checkpoints, and burn a humanity, you can reverse your hollowing. This has several effects. 1, you look human, and 2, new game mechanics are unlocked, like online play, both co-op and versus, the ability to kindle your bonfire for more charges of Estus, the game's health potion, and on occasion, you'll find summon signs that give you the opportunity to summon an NPC to fight with you. In a small tower near where you fight the Iron Golem, one such spot exists. You summon Black Iron Tarkus. Tarkus can just whoop up on the Golem. Sometimes you don't even have to participate. In fact, sometimes Tarkus will beat the Golem so bad, he'll knock him clean off the platform they're fighting on. Easily the easiest fight in the game. But don't get too comfy. The rest of the bosses range from hard to painfully hard. One of the cooler aspects of the boss fights is the opportunity to collect tail weapons. Some of the end guys have tails that you can cut off. That is assuming you can cut the tail off mid-combat. It's not like the bosses let you. Should you manage, your enemy will lose his tail attack, which is great. Your success will be rewarded with a cool new weapon. This adds to the already very difficult task of dispatching your foe. But if you want the best stuff, you're just going to have to work for it. My Dragon King Great Axe, I cut that off the Gaping Dragon you fight in the sewers. Some of the more memorable bosses include Sif, a giant wolf wielding an oversized greatsword in its jaws, Quelaag, a giant flaming spider woman, and the crossbreed Priscilla, who turns invisible as soon as you attack her. Fun hint, if you're going to fight Priscilla, start by throwing a throwing knife. The knife will stick in her and give away her position, because you can still see it when she turns invisible. This will let you know where she is. Like I said, it's not cheating, it's beating Dark Souls. Still, if there is one fight I think really embodies Dark Souls, it's when you face Smaug the Executioner and the Dragon Slayer Ornstein. Smaug is huge and wields a giant hammer, dealing massive damage. Ornstein is fast and dodgy. He's no slouch in melee combat and fires lightning attacks at a distance. Together, they are beyond hard to deal with. One mistake can cost you your life. Attack once too often, run out of stamina at the wrong moment, or just plain old lose track of one, even for a second, that's all it takes to lose. As if that wasn't bad enough, when you kill one, the other one absorbs his power and was restored to full health. If you kill Smaug, Ornstein absorbs him and grows giant. Kill Ornstein and Smaug smashes him, taking his lightning powers. Either way, the second half is against a giant, lightning-infused badass. The first time I ran into these two, it brought me to a complete halt. I had to remodel how my character was laid out, find new game mechanics that put me on the winning side of an engagement, and then more than 6 hours, over 2 days, I beat them. It's a great feeling. I think that's really what draws people to this game. Not the pain, but the satisfaction that comes from overcoming a trial, of having proven your worthiness. Which brings us to the game's last big screw you. This one's a doozy, too. You see, when you defeat the last end guy, Lord Gwyn, the same thing happens that always happens when you defeat a lord. There's a bonfire to light in the middle of the room that you just cleared. Now remember, the bonfires are the game's checkpoints, and therefore there's no reason why you don't just always activate them. The trick is, this is not just any bonfire. That's the flame Lord Gwyn had been stoking with his soul for the last few ages. In fact, the whole goal of the game was to get you here so you'd light the flame and burn in his place. It seems old Lord Gwyn's soul was all but burned up, so the forces that be set up a series of trials meant to make you strong enough to be worthy of being kindled. You're worthy by virtue of having gone this far. If you click on the bonfire, you'll burn and extend the Age of Light and the gods. On the other hand, should you just leave, just walk right out the front door, you'll be hailed as an immortal king and bringer of the Age of Darkness and man. It's a tough call, but no one says Dark Souls was going to be easy. Thanks for watching another episode of Player Select. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, throw a few comments down below, guys. We love to hear it. And hit the bell notification if you want to get contact when new videos come out. Be sure to watch our other videos over here. They're super fun. Thanks for coming. Bye.